Hello friends, welcome to fresh new episode of Techie Tuesdays. I'm your host S. Ravi Kumar. Techie Tuesdays is a weekly show where I answer your tech and career related queries. So if you like my answers, then please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends, family and colleagues. Now let's get started with today's questions. Today's first question is by Purushottam. He's asking, is freelancing the right career for you during a COVID lockdown? Purushottam, by you, I think you are asking that is freelancing the right career for anyone right now in current COVID times? Because frankly speaking, I'm not working as a freelancer. I'm working as a full-time employee in a company, and apart from that I create YouTube videos in my freelance free time, I would say, not freelance work. So to answer your question, is freelancing the right career for you during a COVID lockdown? Frankly speaking, I would say it depends on situation to situation, or it differs from situation to situation. If you are already working as a software developer in any company, then I won't suggest you to freelance. In that scenario, I would suggest you to enhance your skill, work on improving your skills rather than spending the free time in freelancing work. Better learn about a new technology which you were planning to learn anyway, or spend your time in building your brand either by writing blog, giving sessions somewhere. So it depends. So if you are already working, if you are in a job, then rather than doing freelance work on building your brand and promoting yourself and increasing your knowledge. So that should be your end goal if you are already working and you are working from home in this lockdown situation. However, if you have lost your job, unfortunately, if you have lost your job, or if you are free, you don't have any job and you are not getting any job, then in that scenario, freelancing can be a secondary option if you have expertise, or if you have expertise in something and you are getting freelancing jobs, then of course freelancing can be an option. But if you are already working, then freelancing is not an option. But if you are already a freelancer, or if you are a fresher and you are not getting a work, then freelancing can be a good option. But never do freelancing along with your full-time job. That's my suggestion for anyone who is thinking that you can earn some extra money by doing freelancing while working as a full-time job from work from home. When you are doing work from home, that is not a good idea to do. Next question is from Tilak. He's asking, which is a better choice to go, contract in a product based company or full time in a service based company? Tilak, my answer always will be to go for full time, whether it is a product based company or whether it is a service based company. Always go as a full time employee, because when you are working as a full time employee, you not only get salary, you also get other perks or other benefit of that company, be it medical benefit, benefits like medical insurance, or be it benefits like PPF or EPF. So all these things are benefits which you get as a full-time employee. So in this scenario, if you have offer from both a product based company and a service based company, my suggestion would be to always go for full-time employee in any company, be it product based company or be it service based company. In your scenario, it should be a service based company. Now coming to your thing that you can also work as a contractor in a product based company. The problem is with the contractor job is it depends on who is your contracting company. So many times it happens that even big service based company also hire contractors. I have seen many big service based company hire contractors as a middle like employees, like 2-3 years developers. If they want urgently, they hire contractors to do that job. So in that scenario, I think again you are working as a contractor, and what I have seen that contractors were given not very good job, and again the work pressure is pretty heavy on contractors. Another thing with contractors is that like they get a salary in lump sum. They don't have all those benefits which a employee has. So if you are in a product based company, even though you are in that working in that product based company as a contractor, you might get good learning opportunities, because that product based company is a long term running product, and you wanted to work on that particular technology, or you wanted to learn on that particular product, so you might get some learning opportunity. However, contractor job is not secure, or I would say that contractor job is not that well good. You can't even show your experience. Nobody will believe that you have worked as a contractor in that product based company, and you won't be getting those benefits, that is PPF benefit or EPF benefits or medical benefits or other benefits. So in my opinion, if you are getting a full-time job in the product based company, go for it. But if you are getting a full-time job in a service based company also, then also go for it. Don't go for a contract job, especially in India. Contracting job is like consulting, which is I think in India it is not watched as a good thing. Even many service based company, they do also contracting. So either join a service based company who does contracting, or who sends you on you can say that who sends you on who does body shopping or contracting and sends you on site for contract jobs. So you can do that kind of thing, but my opinion will always be to go for a full-time job rather than contract job. Better than contract job, what you can do is you can start freelancing. If you are really into contracting, then do freelancing rather than contracting. So contracting is almost equivalent to freelancing. So better option would always be a full-time job, be it software service company or product based company. Next question is from Shubham. He's asking, is it worth it to learn Xamarin in 2021? Shubham, the answer to this question primarily depends on what is your experience level and what are your long-term goals. So if you are a fresher, then of course directly learning Xamarin is not worth for you. Rather than learning Xamarin, first learn C# development. So first learn .NET and C# development, and like it will take around 3 to 4 months in learning .NET and C# development, be it developing Windows application using .NET and C#. And once you learn developing Windows application using .NET and C#, then you can start learning Mavi, which is the next version of Xamarin Forms. Again, it is based on Xamarin, but Mavi is the UI framework which is the next version of Xamarin Forms, used to develop cross-platform applications. So if you are a fresher, then Xamarin is not worth for you learning right now. Right now, focus on C#, learning C# and .NET. I would say learning C# and .NET 6 framework with Mavi. So first learn C# concepts, object-oriented programming using C# and .NET, and then start learning Mavi, which is the next version of Xamarin and which will be used to create your cross-platform mobile applications. However, if you are an experienced .NET developer, let's say you have 7 to 8 years of experience and you are getting a job in Xamarin. So let's say you are getting an offer in Xamarin, good offer in Xamarin, or you are getting a new project in Xamarin to develop, and you want to learn Xamarin, then in that scenario, yes, Xamarin is worth to learn. You can learn Xamarin, and that way you will learn how to create cross-platform mobile application development using .NET. So yes, Xamarin is worth learning for an experienced developer, but not worth learning for a fresher. So if somebody is a fresher and wants to go into cross-platform mobile development, my suggestion would be to learn Mavi from November. So because after November, Mavi will come into a stable phase. Right now, Mavi is in preview phase. So if you still want to try Mavi, the project structure and the initial things will be same. So I would suggest that if you are a fresher, then learn C#, .NET and Mavi for cross-platform mobile application development rather than learning Xamarin or Xamarin Forms. However, if you are an experienced developer and you are getting job or getting project in Xamarin, then of course you should learn Xamarin for doing cross-platform mobile application development. Also, if you want to expand your knowledge in cross-platform mobile development, then I would suggest to learn Mavi rather than Xamarin. If you are an experienced software developer, if you are an experienced C#.NET developer and you want to expand your knowledge into cross-platform development, then I think you should learn Mavi rather than Xamarin Forms, because Mavi is the future of Xamarin Forms and it is coming next. So if you are already working as a .NET developer and you are getting a project in Xamarin Forms, then learn Xamarin Forms, otherwise learn Xamarin Mavi. The next question is from Abhinav Anand. He's asking, how do I set up a full stack .NET web development environment on Windows 10? Abhinav, setting up full stack .NET development environment on a Windows 10 machine is very easy. You have to follow some simple steps. Let me explain all the steps one by one and their purpose. First step would be to update your system for virtualization. So enable virtualization in your BIOS as well as in your Windows. What is the benefit of enabling virtualization? I'll explain you later, but first enable virtualization in your laptop or desktop. So to enable it from the BIOS, you need to check it from your laptop or desktop vendor that how can you enable virtualization in your laptop or desktop. To enable it in Windows setup, you have to what you have to do is you have to go in control panel, you have to go to add remove programs and add remove Windows feature. There you have to enable virtualization. So first step would be to enable virtualization at your BIOS level as well as your Windows level. The second step would be to install Visual Studio with web development sub setup. So how to install Visual Studio? I have already created a detailed video about what is Visual Studio and how you can save space and what are the benefits of Visual Studio and what all subsystems sub setups of Visual Studio means. I have created a detailed video about this. I will put the link to that video in the description of this video itself and you can watch from there. So install Visual Studio with web development sub setup. So you have to select ASP.NET Web Development and .NET Core Web Development as a sub setup in Visual Studio installation. So the second step would be to install Visual Studio with web development sub setup. Visual Studio is your main IDE for developing web applications and desktop applications and mobile application using .NET. The third step would be to install Docker. The reason to install Docker is kind of a multi-usable tool. You can use Docker for hosting your database engines. You can use Docker for hosting your web services or web application as a containerized web application or web service. So Docker has multiple uses. So I have also created a video about Docker introduction and I have explained how you can utilize Docker to host multiple databases engine to save system resources. So in my opinion, you should also install Docker. And again, the reason I ask you to install or set up virtualization in your BIOS and in your Windows was to let you install Docker, because Docker doesn't work without virtualization, because Docker install or work as virtual machines. It create several small virtual machine on the top of your Windows environment. So that's why you need to have virtualization enabled. So that's the reason of enabling virtualization, the step number one. And you have to install Docker in order to host your database engine and backend services or hosting your web application as a containerized service. But it's an optional step, or installing Docker is an optional step. However, it's a highly recommended step. So install Docker. The fourth and final step would be to install a database management tool or a database server. So in my opinion, most of the .NET developers use SQL Server as a database backend. But if you are learning .NET development for freelance development, so in order to that, you also need to learn how to use MySQL, how to use MariaDB, because .NET not only work with SQL Server, it also work with MariaDB, MongoDB, and all the other different type of databases. There is NoSQL databases also like CouchDB and all other DB. So another benefit here would be that of installing Docker is that you can use containerized these engines. You can use containerized SQL Server, containerized your MariaDB, MySQL, or MongoDB instead of installing the full setup. That way you can save your resources and disk space also. So install a database engine either in Dockerized format or full installation with database management tool. So you can use every database engine comes with a database management tool, like SQL Server comes with SQL Server Management Studio or Azure SQL Management Studio, which can be used for managing SQL Server on Azure also, as well as on local SQL Server. So that is one. Or you can use Workbench, which comes with MySQL, or you can use HeidiSQL, which comes with MariaDB. But instead of installing so many database engines and database management tools, my suggestion would be my recommendation would be to install a multi-database management tool like TablePlus or Navcat. I have already created a detailed video about how to use TablePlus and what are the benefits of using TablePlus. So you can install a database management tool like TablePlus. So to set up full stack .NET web development environment on a Windows machine, you need to follow 4 steps. Number 1, update your BIOS. Number 2, install Visual Studio 2019 with web development sub setup. Number 3, install Docker. And number 4, install a multi-database management tool like TablePlus. Next question is from Ayush. He's asking, what do software developers do after 40? Ayush, usually in India, software developers are promoted till 40, or even before 40, they are promoted to other job roles like team lead, project manager, technical manager, architect, business analyst. So they go on different roles instead of development. So after 40, or I would say by 40 year of age, most of the developers move to different job roles, or they are promoted to different job roles. So there are very less software developers who are at the age of 40, or they are after they are doing development after the age of 40. Usually architects are involved in development also. Many architects are involved in development also. They are involved in creating POCs, they are involved in creating samples, and those architects are of the age of 40 or above 40. But again, they are not software developers. They have been promoted to architect, and they create samples for other software developers to follow. So by the age of 40, most of the software developers are promoted to other roles in India. Next question is from Sana Khan. She is asking, how can one typically measure their results as a freelancer? Sana, usually to measure results, whether as a freelancer or as a normal software developer also, we follow the testing practices. So that's why most of the people follow TDD approach or test driven development approach, where they create test cases, unit test cases for all the tasks which are assigned to them. So if you have time as a freelancer or as a regular developer, if you have time, you can create test cases to test your scenarios, and you can match them with the requirements which were given to you. So that's the reason why it is always suggested to get the requirements in written, so that you can create unit test cases, or you can create Excel sheets of those requirements or of those test cases to compare against your whatever development you have done. So I think the best way to measure the results would be do the testing as per the requirements given to you. So these were my answers to your tech and career related queries in this episode of Techie Tuesdays. If you want your questions to be featured in next episode of Techie Tuesdays, you can DM me your questions with hashtag Techie Tuesdays on any social media platform. All my social media handles are Techie Rathor. I hope you like my answers, and if you like my answers, then please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends, family and colleagues. So until my next video, take care. Bye bye.